Hi everyone, it's Annette, and today I'm making a video all about how to land internships in college. So a little about me, I'm currently an NYU senior studying media, culture, and communication with a minor in business. Throughout college, so the 4 years of college, I've done 11 internships total, and I've landed a good amount of offers from well-known companies like Apple, Tesla, JP Morgan, Bloomberg, just to name a few. I've also worked across a number of different industries like fashion, entertainment, tech, fintech, and post-grad, I'm actually going into management consulting. So this is all a result of the number of different internships I did and what I learned from all of these experiences. So today I wanted to give you all my advice and tips surrounding recruiting and finding and being successful in your internships throughout college. I'll begin with talking about navigating recruiting. So before you approach a recruiting cycle, whether that be in the fall or the spring, depending on what kind of internships you're recruiting for, I would suggest going in with a few goals in mind or an idea of what exactly you're looking for. For example, you can be prioritizing looking for consulting internships or business analyst internships. You could also just be focused on trying new things so that you can learn a little bit more about what you like and what you dislike. I always suggest to keep your doors open and be flexible when it comes to recruiting. I always say this because a lot of students approach recruiting with a very rigid mindset where they're hyper-focused on a specific company or a specific type of job. However, it's important to know that you can't really put all your eggs in one basket and expect to get a job at X company, and you also never know what you might end up liking. I also like to remind other students that I coffee chat that many of these skills are transferable. For example, you can learn a lot about product management skills from working as a business analyst. And in the end, you can work your way into the position or job that is best suited for you through these internships. So that being said, I wouldn't close any doors on yourself, so apply widely across different industries and different types of companies. However, of course, keep in the back of your mind what exactly you're looking for. And that could be something like strong mentorship or a supportive team that allows you to work cross-functionally. And those are more important to focus on when you're finding internships because at this stage in your career, you're really still exploring, and the goal of your internship is not that you're gonna stay at this company forever and you're stuck here, but more so that you're learning about yourself and where you can see yourself going in the future. Next step in navigating recruiting is, where are you finding these internships? I get asked a lot where I actually apply to internships, whether it's on the company website or through LinkedIn, and there's no just simple answer for this. I always say that you should be looking everywhere. I apply to lots of jobs just based on Google search, but I also use websites like Aura, which is good for finding startup jobs or tech jobs, and Handshake. A lot of people don't like Handshake because of the user interface. However, it's important to know that Handshake is partnered with your school, so it actually might be easier for you to land jobs through Handshake since they are recruiting specifically at your school through on-campus recruitment. And that's not every single job in Handshake, but it is a good number of jobs from Handshake. I also suggest looking at industry-specific job boards such as Blind for tech or Business of Fashion for fashion-related jobs. And there's a good number of other boards out there, and if you do a quick Google search, you'll be able to find them. So clearly, there's a lot of places where you can find these internships, and you don't want to miss out. So keep your eyes peeled, right? Once you're about sophomore or junior year, I would say recruiting for internships gets a little bit more serious. And at that point, I would say you have like a list of your top companies where you see yourself being a good fit for, and you should be looking at those company websites pretty much on a daily basis during those recruiting cycle periods. So you are pretty early in getting your application in once those applications open. So next step is actually applying to these internships, right? So I know a lot of people say that recruiting is a numbers game. And while this is partially true because you most likely will have to apply to a good amount of internships before you actually hear back or land one, However, it is also important to be aware of where you're actually applying, because if you're mass applying, you might actually just forget where you even applied to, and that's not always good. I suggest keeping track of where you applied to in a Google Sheets, Excel, Notion, anywhere that you want, so that you can keep track of deadlines, timelines, when you can expect to hear back, and also when you actually start hearing back, you can keep track of when your round 1 was, round 2 was, and just stay organized throughout the entire process, because recruiting can get pretty chaotic. I also want to plug in a tool that I really like to use called Simplify. Simplify is like a AI Google plugin that fills out job applications for you, which is really helpful because it can get really time consuming and annoying to fill out your experiences and your gender and race like a million times over and over again. And Simplify just does it for you, and it also keeps track of where you applied. So if you forget that you applied to this one place, the information will be in Simplify. I also suggest that you compare your resume to the job description before you apply, and if you're able to, kind of fill those gaps if you see any gaps between your resume and the job description. This is important because you don't want to waste your time just spraying your resume everywhere just to not hear back, right? So if you are really excited to work in a product management internship, make sure that your resume reflects that of a product management intern. And then the next tip is, of course, applying fast. I briefly mentioned this earlier, but it is really important to get your application in as soon as possible, while of course maintaining the quality of your application, because a lot of these jobs get so many applications. You want to make sure your application actually gets seen, and sometimes these positions have like 1 week turnarounds before they close, and you want to make sure that you have all the materials, your resume updated before they actually open. The next thing I'm going to talk about is networking. A lot of people approach networking with a lot of anxiety. They might even approach it in a transactional manner. I say networking is really important because it's about building relationships. And I think that networking is a way that you can meet and just have conversations with real cool people. And it can be extremely fruitful, not just because you can get a job out of it or a referral out of it, but because you can actually learn more about a job or a company and see if something is a good fit for you. It's actually so great that in today's society, you're able to just reach out to someone via LinkedIn or via email and have a conversation with them and learn more about them, what kind of life they live, and learn more about yourself and where you might be able to excel in the future. When I was like a sophomore, I actually used to be super scared of networking because I felt very small. I felt like I couldn't really contribute anything, and I was wasting people's time because they were so experienced. And this one coffee chat I had, the person I was speaking to actually told me at the end of it, they told me to be more confident. And that kind of changed my perspective on things, because I realized I shouldn't underplay my experiences, and that me as a student, I also have something very valuable to contribute. I have my own perspective, I have my experiences, and I shouldn't undervalue those, basically. So having all those conversations really kind of grew my confidence. It also will help you actually do better in interviews, because you will learn how to pitch yourself, talk about yourself and your experiences in a more efficient and successful way. It just makes you more confident talking about yourself, which is also a skill that you can't just learn overnight. It is developed over lots of conversations. I also think it's important to play the long game when it comes to networking. While you might get a referral or even a job at a really rare case right after a call, but 30 minutes isn't a long time. You most likely won't get something immediate or tangible right after this 30-minute call where you met someone brand new. It's just like making a new friend. You're not going to meet someone for 30 minutes and immediately know if this is going to be your best friend forever, right? So I think that with meeting lots of different people, you might end up not really clicking with this person, but maybe 1 out of 10 people you chatted with, you form a super strong connection, and years down the line, they might think of you when there's a job opening at their company, or you might gain so much mentorship out of this one person that you just decided to reach out to one day. So I say approach networking not like a transactional or a superficial way, but just like you're making a new friend. I actually have that approach when it comes to interviews as well, not thinking like you're approaching it as like an exam, but more so I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm evaluating if they're a good fit for me, just like they are evaluating if I'm a good fit for them. Okay, lastly, how do you make the most out of your internship? How do you be successful in your internship? You got the job and now you are about to start day one of your internship, very exciting. How are we gonna make the most of it? I say go into your internship with a Google Doc or a Notion page of your goals. What are you hoping to gain from this internship? And that can be things like skills, like I wanna be a better data analyst. Or it can be things like, I want to learn more about myself, how I work on a team, or how I can bring a project from stage A to stage B. Those are all great things that you can think about and plan before you enter your internship. That way, you don't waste a single day being confused about why you're there or what you're learning that day, because you can take initiative and align your projects and your day-to-day with your goals. I think a lot of people have many misconceptions about what an internship actually is. You can make a great amount of impact, but it's also more about what you make of it. You could spend 3-4 months doing absolutely nothing and wasting your time. Or you could spend 3 to 4 months learning so much by yourself and establishing an amazing network in that company and externally. So it's really important to have your goals, map them out, and also just very well communicate that with your manager and stay in contact with everyone. Like connect with everyone on LinkedIn, send your thank you emails, and these connections can last a really long time. So make the most out of your internship. It's also really important to keep track of everything. And I say this because when you first start an internship, it might seem that 3 to 4 months or whatever term your internship is a really long time. But the truth is, it actually passes by really quick. And by the end of it, you might actually forget all of the cool, important things that you did in your time. So I always remind people to keep track of what you did in your internship every week. Week 1, week 2, week 3. What did you do? You had a conversation with this product manager. You initiated this idea in this meeting. Keep track of all of that, because that is really valuable information that you can use to, 1, maybe get a return offer to this team if you really liked it. 2, you're not missing information that is really valuable that could be aligned on your resume. And 3, you can look back on these stories and talk about them in your upcoming interviews for the next recruiting cycle, for your next internship, or for your full-time job. So you don't want to forget those details, right, of all the hard work you did. That is kind of my brief rundown of interview and recruiting tips. I kind of glazed over what I thought was the most important based on questions that I get a lot from coffee chats and underclassmen, and what I found really helpful from my internship experiences. But I hope you gained something new that you can apply to your recruiting know-how, and you learned something new. So good luck with applying to everything if you're in the middle of recruiting, and I hope that the job that is meant for you finds you. All right, bye. Oh, and leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions of anything you want me to talk about, anything you want me to go in a little bit more detail on, and I will surely make a new video about that. Thank you, bye.